The Detroit Tigers lose their fourth consecutive game in another performance in which the offense did not do much of anything. Let's talk about it all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Tuesday, May 7th, 2024. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Tuesday to all. The Tigers lose their fourth straight ball game, this one at the hands of the Cleveland Guardians by a score of 2-1. This is their fourth consecutive loss. They are now obviously 0-4 on the important road trip that we deemed here. Plenty other people realize the kind of, I don't know if important or like the test, whatever you want to say, that this 6-game road trip was going to be. The Tigers now guaranteed to finish below 500 on this 6-game road trip. What went wrong? You're not going to believe this, okay? You're really not. I hope you're sitting down. Take a deep breath. Grab a seat. Grab a chair. If you're driving, pull over. This is going to shock you, okay? What went wrong was the offense. I know that's absolutely shocking and stunning, and you're appalled, and you're thinking, how is that even possible? But jokes aside, obviously, we're back in the same boat, same story, different day. They scored one total run. They scored that run on the first pitch of the ball game, and then did not score the rest of said ball game. These are the Detroit Tigers runners in scoring position statistics in the last 4 games. Okay, so game 1 against Cleveland, and then the 3-game series when you got swept in New York. 2 for 22 with 29 team runners left on base. They're also, again, this may shock you, winless in said stretch. They had 10 base runners today. They had 10 base runners on Monday night's game. None of them, right? Well, I guess Riley that's a base runner, I guess. He hit himself home. They had 9 non-solo home run base runners in this ball game. Didn't score a single one of them. And like, again, we can go through and talk about, each individual player and just continue bashing our heads against a wall, essentially, with this conversation, just regurgitated every day. But like, it's everyone. It's everybody. Mark Hanna was never going to maintain, 930, 940 OPS status. Kerry Carpenter, going into this ball game, has a 154 average and a 440 OPS since April 20th. It's a decent sample size there, right? Especially this young into a season. We're only 5-6 weeks into the season. Anyways, since April 20th, a 154 average, 440 OPS. He got the double, obviously, in this ball game. And I think, we were all holding our breath like, oh, get out, get out, get out. And then when it didn't, I think most of us, myself certainly included, looked around and went, well, that sucks that wasn't a homer, because there is no chance that he is scoring. And sure enough, that was reality. And the point I made yesterday, I had a couple of comments in regards to it. I wasn't trying to articulate. My point was not don't do anything, right? I had said there's no amount of moves that is really going to just like quote unquote magically fix this offense, at least internally, right? Trades are a different story, I guess, but like there's no amount of, calls ups and sends down that's going to make this offense just like incredible overnight. Might make them better temporarily, but like big picture, you need your core and the players that you actually anticipate to do well over the next several years, right? Obviously, everyone loves to talk about Torkelson. He falls into there, but there's a few players that fall into that category to step up and do better. But that point, while I still stand by that does not mean just sit on your hands and do absolutely nothing either. You have to do something. And sure enough, literally as I hit record, I kid you not, right before I was about to get on air here and start recording this, the Tigers, it's reported by Evan Petzold, it looks like the Tigers will be optioning Parker Meadows to Toledo. The corresponding move has not been announced yet at the time of this recording. By the time you're listening to this, you will probably know it. And certainly by the time the game starts, that will be common knowledge. I don't know what the plan is with Urshela. I had put out there that, he's traveling with the team. So like maybe he could just like bounce right back into the lineup. But I had a couple people point out that like they might want to put him on a rehab assignment. I'm not sure. Feels weird to like bring him with the team if you want him to go on a rehab assignment, but like who knows? I don't know the scheduling of all of that, obviously. But there's also in the article by Evan Petzold, he talked about at the Freet, by the way, he talked about potentially Akil Badu being the answer as well, who's had a fine year down in Toledo. So I'm glad we're doing something. Again, I didn't mean don't do anything. You can't just sit around and wait for over half of your lineup to be competent, right? You can't just sit around and wait for that. Something has to give here. And again, hopefully that this decision is a start of, continued activity. And that all being said, what I said yesterday, I still think is true. Adjustments and improvements need to be made on the players that are actually going to be here, and that going into the season, you planned on being legitimate parts of this lineup. Like in this ball game, for instance. Again, we've talked about it so much this year. It felt like you had 87 pitches over the heart of the plate on first pitches or early in counts again that were just spit on, that were just completely taken, and there wasn't even a remote effort to go after them. And we talked about this a lot earlier this week, or last week, I guess, on the off day, we talked about it, right? The Tigers never swing first pitch. They're last in baseball in first pitch swinging. Your approach that you have game planned so far this season, that you've drawn up, Keith Beauregard, Michael Berdar, right? The hitting coaches, is clearly not working. Clearly. Lance Zawadski, I believe, is the assistant hitting coach, right? Like clearly in the hitters meetings, whatever we're drawing up is not working. And obviously it's not just that, right? I don't believe in the belief that it's just like this is all on one person. This is a group effort of suck. This is just a team effort of really, really, really bad offense. The players, the game plan, the hitting coaches, the coaching staff, the front office going into this season, everybody can get it. It is mind-boggling. And I'm glad that something is happening, that some sort of roster decision is going down. And again, I hope that this is a sign that going forward the next several weeks, we're going to look at players a lot more under a microscope and actually consider more of these moves. Buddy Kennedy did well while he was up here. He's on the 40, right? There's moves. I'm just going to talk in circles because then again, like Akil Badu hit, barely over 200 last year. You need the players that are supposed to be stepping up to step up. You need to change your game plan and your offensive approach. Adjustments need to be made to it. And you need to make some roster moves. All of those things need to happen if you want to right this ship. That's all I'm trying to say. It's not one or the other. It's not this, but not that. It's not this and that. Everybody. Everybody. Okay. Goodness gravy. Let's get back to talking about the ball game that was actually played. I love y'all so much. I really do. Hug a Tiger fan today. Let's keep the ball rolling. I feel like that's always my transition. Keep the ball rolling. We will talk more about this game, some things that happened into it. I'll probably complain a little bit more, and we'll do all of that right after this. Going to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Prize Picks. Look, spring training is over and baseball season is obviously right in we're in the heart of it now, right? We're well into May. The Tigers offense may not be aware that spring training is over, but you and I are. So don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks entries today. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your Prize Picks entries today. Get in on all the playoff action in the NBA and NHL, and you can win up to 100 times your money in Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a whole new level during basketball's postseason. That Knicks-Pacers game on Monday night was just peak playoff ball, and I have been looking forward to that series since they were up in their first series. That's just like peak 90s nostalgia, like hoops, right? Just two kind of gritty, complete teams. I am beyond excited for that series, and you can make it even more fun by adding some of those players to your Prize Picks entry. So download the app and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. And that's Locked On MLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Also, going to tell y'all about Monopoly Go. Got to pause for a minute and just talk about the great game that is Monopoly Go. I know we talk about it a lot, but there's so many great features and fun stuff to do. You can team up with your friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. And the more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock as well. There's so much to get. Unique stickers that you can trade with your friends to complete albums for big prizes. Cool new playing pieces and travel boards as well. Hilarious emojis and taunting friends as you smash their buildings and heist their vaults. There's so much to do in this game. There's also one of the things that makes it so cool is they keep it exciting by consistently changing tournaments and challenges, right? So a lot of them have their own mini games included. There's always something new. You can dig for treasure and a bunch of other things. Massive multipliers for everything you win as well. There's always something fun to discover on Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it for free in the App Store or Google Play. Game on. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2 of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, as always, making us your first listen every day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will be back tomorrow recapping Game 2 against the Cleveland Guardians, talking about anything else that happens in the organization as well. Be sure to check out Locked On Sports today as well, the great 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. You can subscribe to it there. Get all around the clock news, or you can watch on the Amazon Fire TV channels app. Other things that went wrong in this ball game. I think I'm done talking about the offense. That was good. We let it all out. Again, everything. If you're thinking, oh well, I think they need to send people down. You're right. And if you're thinking, oh well, I think the Carpenter, Torque, and whatever. Colt Keith, you name it, needs to be better. You're right, too. Everybody's right. I think they should have done more in the offseason. Hard to argue against that, right? Everybody's right. Okay, let's move on. For real this time. The umpire, home plate umpire in this ball game. I want to get one thing very clear. This is not the reason they lost at all, okay? Not the reason they lost. I'm not pinning a loss with this terrible offense on the umpire. But it was still brutal. And the Mark Hanna AB where he saw 7 pitches. He fouled off one, which was a strike, but he already had 2 strikes on him in the count. And was it a full count when he did that 2-2 full count when he fouled off that pitch? All 3 strikes that he took were not in the strike zone. Remarkable. In a huge moment in the ball game, obviously, as well. Just absolutely brutal. It just, what a gut punch. When it rains, it pours. Like, it just felt like they could not catch a break for anything. Kerry Carpenter's base running, the broadcast, SEMO specifically pointed this out. I agree. He absolutely should have been on third base. But again, like, the team, it's very hard for me to get passionate about, like, oh, he should have been standing on third base when it just doesn't seem to matter. But I do agree that that was not very good base running, and he should have been on third base. That's a ball in that J-Ram's charging. Bad throw on that play as well. There's really no reason that he shouldn't have been standing on third base. So those are some of the things that went wrong. Let's talk about what went right in this ball game. It was a very close ball game, and the reason for that was because the pitching was great yet again. We can really just rename these segments instead of what went right and what went wrong, hitting and pitching, and it would be pretty much the same thing, I think, at this point. But Jack Flaherty was fantastic. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Obviously, one of those hits and earned runs via a J-Ram solo shot. Rod Rogelio over at Motor City Metrics pointed out that J-Ram actually, for the first time in his career, didn't hit very well against the Tigers last season. So he felt overdue, one of the infamous Tiger killers of amongst the fan base. And that's again, when it rains, it pours. That's a ridiculous homer. That's not a homer in most parks. It had a exit velo of less than 95 miles an hour. That pretty high launch angle. Just just enough and hit the foul pole as well. Just gut punch after gut punch. But Flaherty was great, and the fastball looked stellar. I think this is the best it's looked all season besides his last outing. But this is 2 outings in a row where I think it's looked phenomenal, right? The Cardinals outing was maybe the best outing of his entire career. The slider looked great in this one as well. I also love, it's an unsung hero of his repertoire. I love the versatility, not the versatility, sorry, wrong word. The utility of his curveball. I think it's beautiful, right? The way he utilizes it, I think is absolutely fantastic. He uses it just enough to keep hitters off balance, but he doesn't throw it enough to where anybody's really sitting on it too terribly often. And that is just the perfect mix for that knuckle curveball. His fastball was good again. Like I said, up and away to lefties in this one. It was a real weapon, and also up and away to righties, I guess, really to both of them. But that pitch allows the slider low and away to be an effective weapon. That is beautiful when both of those are working and firing on all cylinders like it was in this outing. The slider against righties specifically, obviously, but this was a lefty-heavy lineup, right? Like, that started this game. This was like, 7 or 8 even lefties, obviously some switch hitters in there, but when Flaherty was on the mound, faced almost all lefties and was still phenomenal. That is a great sign. He was incredibly impressive, and his ERA on the season is now 3.86. He's not walking very many hitters. He's striking out a lot. He looks fantastic. Okay. Also, let's talk Joey Wentz. All right, we'll do that right after this. Going to talk to y'all today about our friends over at DoorDash. This Mother's Day, get something thoughtful for mom on DoorDash. You can surprise her from wherever you are with fresh bouquets, the latest tech, gift cards, self-care treats, and more to make her day that much better. Does your mom have a sweet tooth? Is she a tech enthusiast, a beauty connoisseur, or is she outdoorsy? It really doesn't matter what she's into. You can make her smile with a fruit or flower bouquet, makeup, tech gear, workout gear. My mom is a huge bookworm, the biggest bookworm I've ever met in my entire life. I'm probably going to get her something with that, and I can use DoorDash to do that as well. So get all your Mother's Day gifts all in one place. To get 50% off of your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flour, convenience, grocery store, or retail order now with code Locked On MLB. That's Locked On MLB. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. So, talking about what went right in this ball game, pretty short list, but Joey Wentz certainly falls under that umbrella as well. 2 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. His ERA on the season is now 0.68. 0.68. Now, it's obviously not going to stay that low, but if he can even be honestly, a 3.15, 3.3 ERA lefty reliever that can go multiple innings, I think that is a beautiful role for Joey Wentz. And this outing specifically, this might have been the best outing I've seen from him in his entire career. There's a chance, off the top of my head, I'm not going to remember, but there's a chance that he had a better outing in that September of 2022 when he got called up and looked really, really sharp, throwing the cutter a lot. But certainly since the start of last season, this is some of the best I think he's looked. The fastball still isn't awesome, but the cutter in this outing was absolutely magnificent. And that pitch helps set up the fastball, even if it is below average or subpar. You can still beat people with 95, 96 if they're sitting on 87, 88 with movement, which is what that cutter is. Didn't even really have to go to the changeup too much in this outing, but still was decent when he did. Genuinely, I was blown away. This was easily the best I think he's looked all season, which is saying something because he's looked really good this season and dating back through last season. Want to give him his credit there. Riley Green, obviously the leadoff homer, only 1 for 5 on the day, but had 3 of the hardest hit balls of the game by all players on both teams. The double play late was obviously killer, but his RISP numbers on the year have actually been pretty solid. He's hitting close to 300. I don't know. I'm not going to pin this loss on the only guy that can consistently hit a baseball and is responsible for our only run. Yes, obviously that's the guy you want up, and he didn't come through. Fully acknowledge that. But over the course of the season, again, he has pretty good RISP numbers, and most of the other people don't. And I'm really just looking for literally anyone else to step up, not named Riley Green, because I think he's done plenty. Oh my goodness. Okay. Defense in this outing, thought was good as well. Javi really heads up play at third. Kerry Carpenter, really good play in the first inning as well. Get the trail runner at third base. We talk about trail runner all the time on this show. If you're a longtime listener, I've been complaining about the Tigers' lack of paying attention to the trail runner for like 75 years now. And I'm glad that they actually paid attention to him, got him out, and ended the inning. Obviously, it sucks to give up the lead there, but you made the smart and correct play. You ended the inning. Brilliant. Really liked that. That's pretty much it for what went right. Not a whole lot. Let's talk stuff. Okay. I don't think I have anything else to say about this ball game. I have no more air to give on this loss and this offense and what has been struggling. Let's talk City Connects. The City Connects were released and revealed, I should say, on Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I want to start off this conversation by saying this. I am in no way, shape, or form a fashionista. No one should be getting their fashion advice or opinions from me. I'm sure plenty of you don't think that I should be giving baseball advice either. Okay. I do not think that my opinion on this holds any merit whatsoever. Okay. I want to make that abundantly clear. Fashion, not my strong suit. You guys see what I wear every day. A lot of hoodies, and t-shirts. Okay. So I want to start off by saying this, or saying that. When it comes to these, I don't hate them. And that's like a kind of a low bar. That's kind of a meh answer. But I really, let's break it down. I think they're really just predictable. And that was kind of my biggest gripe with them. Like everyone knew it was going to be car related. And it also feels like a ton of the City Connects recently have been dark or just straight up black colors. And that's what we got. We got car themed and dark. And like that was again, that felt just like super, super, super predictable. That being said, I think they'll look fine on the field. I think they'll look pretty cool. I don't know. Again, I'm not in love with them, but I don't think these are some incredible piece of art. But I don't think they're garbage or anything. Like I think they're fine. And again, I think they should look pretty cool on the field. That all being said, the hats are absolutely terrible. I kind of like the tiger like under the brim concept, but the hat itself, the Detroit, that is dreadful. I would have preferred we just had our hats, like we just had our. You can change maybe the color of the hats, whatever. I just prefer it was just the old English D. It's I don't know. The hats are terrible. I don't mind the jerseys. I was hoping for some orange. That was kind of like my hope going into this was that we were going to get a lot of orange. We didn't get any. Obviously, it's just black and blue. I'm not really mad. I'm not blown away either. They're fine, and I think they'll look pretty clean on the field. To be honest, besides the hats, obviously. But I don't have like a super like I don't look at those and I go, wow, these are the worst thing I've ever seen. But you know, they don't rank in like the S tier of City Connects that we've gotten either. I think they're going to be fine. Some people will like them. Plenty of people will hate them, as all City Connects do. I think we're gonna look back and think this is a pretty like middle of the road, fine City Connect jersey. Okay. Ryan Vilade is the call up. So let's do that with the end of the show here. We'll talk about that. That is happening as I'm recording. Evan Petzold of the Freep reports that Ryan Vilade will get the call up from AAA Toledo. Now, I don't believe the Tigers are going to have to make a 40-man roster move. I'm doing this completely on the fly, so if any of this is partially wrong, forgive me. We can recap it more tomorrow, but I believe Sawyer Gibson-Long's still on the 15 last time I looked, so I think that he should they're just going to move him to the 60. When you're on the 60-day IL, that removes you from the 40-man roster. So I believe they don't have to DFA anybody or have some corresponding move necessarily, besides just obviously the demotion of Parker Meadows. So, okay, that is the decision. He has played, my goodness, he's played all three outfield positions for sure. He's played first, second, and third, all in Toledo. So he has played pretty much every position except shortstop, pitcher, and catcher. And we're only a month in to the Mud Hen season. So he's going to, that positional versatility that everybody loves. Offensively, he's raking so far this season, has a 949 OPS in Toledo so far. But this is a career, like he's got a 770 OPS, 771 OPS in his minor league career across, 6 or 7 seasons now. He only has, I believe, like 3 or 4 at-bats at the major league level with the Rockies. Didn't really do anything in those. He's also still only 25 years old. So I guess there's a little bit of something there that, I don't know, maybe they think that they can try and find something here, similar to what happened with Tyler Holton on the pitching side of things last year. But that is the decision. Ryan Vilade. I think that kind of, again, earlier in the show, I thought it was probably going to be Akil Baddoo. Thought there was a chance, unless they want to rehab assignment, Gio Urshela, that it might have been him as well. Looks like it will be Ryan Vilade. Again, having a great year so far with the Mud Hens. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Anything to spark this offense, man. And like Ryan Vilade is not, going to be the savior of the team. He's not going to come up here and be the 3 or 4 hitter of this team and be an all-star, whatever. Like my point from earlier remains. Like this is good. We're giving someone else an opportunity that has been doing well, hitting well in Toledo, for someone that has not been hitting well in the majors. Good job, right? 2 thumbs up. It's a good start. That's something that needs to happen. But you need the players that are going to stay here to step up as well. There's no amount of call-ups and send-downs that's going to fix, 2 to 5 of the guys that you thought were going to be, legitimate middle of the lineup bats having OPSs around or under 500. So all of it is true. Glad this call up is happening. Hope more moves continue to happen, but the approach of the team rough, and some adjustments clearly still need to be made as well. Like I said earlier, everybody's right. No matter what your opinion is of this offense, whether you blame Harris, whether you blame the hitting coaches, whether you blame the players, whether you blame Torkelson, whether you blame the lack of moves, whether you blame the I don't know, the guys in the minors, whether you blame the hot dog vendor. No offense to the whoever the great hot dog vendors of Comerica Park are, but they're probably all at fault a little bit. It's a random stray. I'm sorry, but it's not going well. Hopefully Ryan Vilade can provide a little bit of a spark. Again, plays all over the field, so that eases up kind of the, having to fit in one specific place thing. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Clearly, they're not going to. This organization has proven time and time again that they are not going to rush in the Scott Harris era. They're not going to rush a prospect to the majors if they don't believe that he is ready for the good or betterment of, or the presumed betterment, I should say, of the major league team. They're not going to rush Jace Young and call him up just because the offense at the major league level sucks. If they think he has more to work on in the minors, then he's going to stay in the minors until they think he's actually ready. Same with Justin Henry Malloy, clearly. And that's why, Colt Keith was down there for so long last year as well. That is, to me, that's what this move kind of shows. Vilade over Akil Baddoo is I think somewhat of a statement though, because Baddoo's on the 40-man. Vilade isn't. You're adding someone to the 40-man to do that when you had an outfielder on the 40. Maybe they'll play him in the infield a little bit. I don't know what the usage is going to be. You also have center fielders on the roster. Baddoo isn't going to play center field for you at the major league level. So it's going to be a lot of Winfield Perez, a lot of Matt Vierling, and maybe even some Riley Green in center field until Parker Meadows returns, whenever that may be. We'll know when he starts hitting again, and that conversation will start heating up again. All right? Okay. Well, there you have it. Do I cut the part earlier where I was talking about maybe it being Baddoo or Urshela? I don't think so. I think we just run it. That is my complete analysis on Vilade. I don't really have much else. So, okay. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. I appreciate you all greatly. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully talking about a win. Logan Allen against Kenta Maeda. Logan Allen has an ERA over 5. It hasn't really mattered much lately, but it's something. And you know what? A series win is still on the table. You go out and you win your next 2 games. I can't talk tonight. You go out and win your next 2 games. That eases the blow of the last 4 games significantly. So let's try and do that. All right. Appreciate you all greatly. As always, peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. And I'll catch you all tomorrow, baby. Go Tigers.